Hi y'all, I'm Anna with Always Right, and in today's video we are doing a book haul, and this is going to be a substantial book haul. Basically, I have 3 stacks of books that are this thick each. So let's get into it. Spoilers, you may hear some rumbling. We did just get out of a tornado warning. I know, big hoopla. And you will probably hear Hera. She's just gonna be playing with her toys because she's going to. Turn my phone off and let's get into it. So I got most of these books, admittedly, from thrifting. I did get some of these books like full price, like through Book of the Month, or just like going to Barnes and Noble or ordering online. The first book is a book that I thrifted, and it is Woman number 17 by Eden Lepucki. This is a Book of the Month Club book. As you can see, it is the May 2017 edition. This isn't a typical story I would pick out. Like if I had the May 2017 options, I probably wouldn't have picked this one. But Woman number 17 is basically about this writer that's in California. She gets tired of her husband, decides she wants like a summer away from him with the kids. So her and the kids move into a house in the hills in Los Angeles. Well, kids are kind of a pain in the ass to deal with, especially when you're trying to write. So she hires Lady S, and then some stuff starts happening. Next book is The Wife Between Us. And this is another Book of the Month Club book. This is from December 2017, so there's like a big gap here. This book has the unreliable narrator. There are lies being spewed left and right. We're told just from the text on the flap here to second guess everything and read between the lies. So we don't know if it's like the jealous ex-wife. We don't really know. It's definitely a suspense book, and it definitely seems interesting. It also has the brightest back cover I've ever seen. This is highlighter yellow. Next book is the Book of the Month Club from December 2019, The Wives by Taryn Fisher. Yes, this is the one that has like the lady that's in a relationship with her husband, and then he has like 3 other wives. It's that book. If you haven't heard about it, there's a lot of rantings on YouTube, so if you are curious about more details on what this is about, feel free to check out some of those. I don't know if I will finish this. I will definitely try it, but we'll see if I end up really liking it. Next up is the January 2018 Book of the Month book of As Bright as Heaven by Susan Meissner. And this one is interesting. It is set in Philadelphia in 1918, you know, a very boring year, nothing was going on. You know, only the Great War and the Spanish flu. This follows a young married couple as they move to Philadelphia, and the flu hits, like a misfortune hits, and the wife ends up adopting an orphaned baby. And then the rest of the book, I imagine, is about the orphan baby and the lady trying to survive. So it sounds interesting. It definitely seems interesting. I personally am not a big war book kind of person, but this seems more to be about the Spanish flu than the Great War. So I'm excited for that. Those last 4 books were all books that I have thrifted from my local thrift store. The next 2 are books that I personally chose from my Book of the Month subscription. And the April 2021 pick I did is Arsenic and Adobo by Mia P. Menansala. I think I got it that time. This is almost like a cozy mystery, but it's a little too long to be a cozy mystery. But Arsenic and Adobo is a murder mystery book that follows Leela, aka like a Miss Cook in here, as she tries to solve the murder mystery of her like high school sweetheart turned like hometown devil dying in her restaurant after she fed him some food she'd made. So it seems interesting. I've actually started on it a wee bit. I'm not very far in it at all. If this sounds a little hallmarky to you, because yes, she did come from a hometown, yes, she did return to her hometown to start cooking, and there's murder in it, yeah, the author makes that joke. Don't worry. It's pretty nice that the author was like self-aware enough. Next up is my May 2021 pick, Ariadne? Ariadne. Ariadne? My May 2021 pick is Ariadne by Jennifer Saint. Now, this is kind of a retelling of the Princess of Crete, Ariadne. This is kind of the what if, the retelling, if the princess here had helped, I think his name is Theseus, kill the Minotaur. And it follows that path as she runs off and marries Theseus and leaves her beloved sister behind. I'm excited for it. It's definitely a thinner pick. I remember when I was at Barnes & Noble this last month, I saw this and I fell in love. I'm a sucker for like really simple, high contrast colors. And I love kind of Greek retelling. So here we are. So that was the first six, the first stack, if you will. Let me know if you have read any of these. I'm very curious because these are Book of the Month books, so they are like really popular books. They're highly read, highly consumed books usually. And first up on the stack is Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. This is the classic Gothic tale of a widower marrying a young woman, and the young woman is haunted by the widower's first wife, Rebecca. It's a Gothic classic. I just recently watched some booktuber, I can't remember her name, but she had surveyed her followers, her friends on Goodreads and asked their top favorite books, and Rebecca was in the top 20 replies, and I thought that was fascinating. I have heard so much about this. I have never read it. Almost any of the classics I have never read, and that's not good. So I'm trying to get well-versed in the classics. I'm trying to expose myself to classic stories so that I too can be educated. Next up is actually an ARC that I found at my thrift store, and I'm really surprised that they had an ARC. And that is The Stars Are Fire by Anita Shriver. This is set in Maine in, I think it's 1947, during Maine's historical big fire that they had. And it's a woman's lit book. This author, Anita Shriver, she wrote The Pilot's Wife, which I know was an Oprah's Book Club pick. I did peek some reviews to see if I wanted to read this or if I just wanted to add it to my shelves to be like, I have an ARC. And I decided that I will read it. A lot of the reviews were talking about how they really liked this author. They were very glad to see her writing more women lit. And they said that this was a really good, heartwarming story. So we're living for it. We're gonna read her. I always love seeing this part of the ARCs. They don't ever show you. I guess it doesn't really matter anymore because she's published, but that's like her marketing plan. I always find that interesting. Moving on, the next book is Michael Crichton's Timeline. If you saw the movie with like the historians that went back to like medieval Europe, specifically France, this is the source material. It really is. And I didn't realize that the movie Timeline was inspired by the book Timeline. And of course, it's a Michael Crichton book. I swear to God, almost all of his books have been made into movies. So I'm very curious to see how he perfects this. Next up is a book that is new, so it is like a new release, and that is Jennifer L. Armentrout's The Crown of Gilded Bones. This is the third book in the Blood and Ash series. There's gonna be 4 of them. Spoilers. So this is not the final one. I almost did not buy this book because I absolutely hated the second book. I thought it was boring, and then it ended well, and I was just like, now I gotta buy the third one. So I bought the third one. And I'm probably gonna do a reading vlog with her. It'll be a lot of angry Anna reading. Spoilers. No, I mean, it's a chunky book. I listened to the audiobooks for the first 2. They averaged about 24 hours each. Yeah, that was my reaction too. It's a lot, I know. But we're living for it, I guess. Jennifer, you can use less pages. I give you permission, okay? With that out of the way, let's go on to the next book, and that is World War Z by Max Brooks. So I did a little research into Max Brooks because I read his De-Evolution, however you really pronounce it. It's the Bigfoot story set on Mount Rainier in Oregon, and I absolutely loved that book. I finished it. I had to spread it out across 4 days because I would start reading it at night and it would freak me out. And I'd be like, oh my God, Bigfoot are coming for me out in West Texas. They're gonna sneak up on me with all the trees we have. Yeah, so it took a little longer than I wanted it to, but I finished it. I loved it. I started looking into him. He has 2 books that aren't Minecraft books, and I was really upset. Also, this Max Brooks is Mel Brooks' son, like Mel Brooks that did Blazing Saddles, that did Young Frankenstein. That's his daddy-o. This is kind of like the legends, the stories that the survivors of the zombie war passed down. That's kind of the format. De-Evolution is found journal format, which I really enjoyed. I know some people didn't quite like, but that's okay. But I've heard a lot of praise about this. A lot of people that read De-Evolution were like, oh, it's not as good as World War Z. And I'm just like, why are you comparing them? They're different. Anyway, I need to get off my soapbox and go on to the next book. And the next book is Sweet Lamb of Heaven by Lydia Millette. If the name sounds familiar and you've been watching my channel, she is the author of a children's Bible, or These Children's Bible, and I absolutely loved it. I love the prose, I love the concept, I love the execution, so I picked this up. Sweet Lamb of Heaven follows the best named protagonist, I dare say, Anna, as she escapes from her controlling, manipulative husband with her young child. I have a feeling it's not going to end well for anyone, just based on the cover. Yeah, I went ahead and bought 2 of Lydia Millette's books. This one's like nice and short. It's not as short as the other one. I'm saving the other one for the very end because it is my favorite and I'm excited about it. This sounds interesting. This is kind of like from the middle of her current writing career. It's like either liked or really not liked, so I'm a little cautious going into it. I'm still gonna definitely read it because I did go out of my way to buy this one. I don't know, I think the reason that I bought this over her mermaid one that she had is because it has heaven in it, and I had just read a children's Bible which had like those religious contexts, those religious emphasis, and I was just like, ooh, I want to see what she did in the middle of her career with her religious influences and stuff. The next book, which is actually relevant to this channel, is Intuitive Editing, a creative and practical guide to revising your writing by Tiffany Yates Martin. So a little fun fact about this book before I kind of talk a little more about it and why I bought it, is that this book is not just sitting on a warehouse shelf just waiting to move. This book is basically printed once a week and then they ship out what is ordered. That's a fun fact because I found this on Amazon for like $14.99, went to Barnes & Noble, it was also $14.99, and that's when they explained that it was kind of like a special to print, like order to print kind of book and not just like a chilling on the shelves kind of book. I went ahead and bought this book because I saw a Reddit post like a month ago that was talking about how they used this book and it really helped them because they couldn't figure out how to edit their first draft, and it was too long of a first draft and they didn't know how to even start approaching it, like I didn't. And so they picked this book up and they were able to, across like 3 drafts, get it within a publishable range. AKA their first draft was 150,000, 140,000, and then their last draft, or latest draft if you would, was like 98,000 words. I was very interested in this because I know personally that Feathers is a little chunky. Like I feel like there's 5,000 to 7,000 words that I can cut from Feathers, so I bought this to help with my redraft of Feathers as well as the edit of future drafts. Now that's it for this little stack right here. I get my muscles from moving books, what can I say? Let's keep going. That had all of the really new books I bought, and then these are for the most part older books that I have here. And this isn't the end of the section because like the top half of it that's like that tall is sitting waiting for like the finale. The next book I've got is Rainbow Rowell's Attachments. Now, I started this because it just sounded really interesting. We were under tornado warning. I had to sit by the TV, and so I just pulled this out and started like reading a few chapters. So Attachments is set in 1999, aka like the beginning of the big email push, aka like the beginning of businesses starting to have email addresses where their employees could email each other back and forth. And it follows Beth and Jennifer through their email logs. Here's the very first page. This is kind of the formatting for the emails. It's almost like our texting is, their conversation format. And it follows their shenanigans as they break the rules for the corporate emails. And also, it follows Lincoln, who is the IT person that is in charge of reading any corporate emails that may trigger this like filter, aka any emails that may break corporate policy, like Beth and Jennifer's. It's really fun to read, and I know that Lincoln starts falling for either Beth or Jennifer through the email interactions that they have with each other, and from just like working alongside her in a similar schedule. So it's really cute, it's really interesting so far. The characters are very quirky. So the next book that you've totally heard of is Sarkon by William J. Lederer and Eugene Burdick. Wish I was joking. I found this at my local library. It's from the 60s, and it's about this fictional Southeast Asian country, Sarkon, and how it's a communist country, and the leader died, and the prince is taking over as leader, and it's basically like a book that was aimed to scare Americans away from communism. I'm very curious about it. I've never heard of it, never seen it before, but just like this cover was fascinating to me because, like, you know, most covers it's like graphics, like even classic books like Rebecca. It's like the name and then it's like the person with maybe a line about what it is. No, they just went, no. They went for the text option. But I did get this at my local library. I think I will at least try to start it. I don't know. I doubt I'll finish it, but I'll try. The next book is The Bromance Book Club by Lisa K. Adams. This is the first in a series. I think there's 4 of these books out right now. It is contemporary romance. It follows this set of guys, this group of friends that read romance books. Like that's a romance book in his back pocket, and it follows their romantic endeavors. This one follows a professional baseball player, which I'm not a big sports person at all. I know enough about sports that I won't be totally turned off by the terminology, won't be alienated, but I don't know if I'm going to really like it. The reason I picked this up is because Chandler Ainsley did a video where she was doing like sports romance books, and I was like, okay, that sounds really cute. Forgetting that it was a sports romance video. Here we are. Next up is Less by Andrew Sean Greer. Less follows a kind of failing 50-year-old novelist that just doesn't have a lot going for him. His career is kind of going, and he decides, screw it, I will say yes to any literary event that invites me. Arthur Less goes to Mexico, Italy, Germany, Morocco, India, and Japan, and puts thousands of miles between him and the plight he refuses to face. This has some romance in it. It just sounds cute, but the main reason I bought it is because this little sticker here, it is a Pulitzer Prize winner. And as someone that wants to write award-winning books, I want to read award-winning books, so I decided to go ahead and get this one. We got 4 more books to go, guys. We're almost done. The next book is Jojo Moya's The Horse Dancer. I read a Jojo Moya's book. I liked the Jojo Moya's book, so I saw this, then I went, yeah, I'll buy that for $1.25, and I did. Also, I really like horses, and so anytime a book like is remotely about horses and it's by an author I kind of like, I'm just like, Yeah, I'll take that. This follows two protagonists. Follows Sarah, who's a 14-year-old girl who receives the horse from her grandfather, and then her grandfather kind of gets really ill, and so she has to manage the horse, she has to manage her grandfather, she has to manage her life, her school. It's a mess. And then the second protagonist is Natasha, who is a young lawyer with a failed marriage. Don't you love it? Sarah ends up kind of in her path of life, if not like her literal path. And they kind of develop a bond, and there's a secret that Natasha has that could ruin their relationship and their lives. I know, really melodramatic, but it sounds cute. It's a little chunkier than I was kind of wanting it to be. It's about 425, which is right at the edge of what I'm comfortable with for an average book. The next book, I don't have a physical book for it, but it is Where the Lost Wander. This was up for a Goodreads historical fiction award. I'm pretty sure it got like 10th place or something really astounding. And I just kind of got my interest. So I did the Googles, I found it on Amazon, and found out that to get the Kindle and the audiobook was like $5 combined for both of them. So I did it. And I'm about halfway through. It's interesting, it has romantic notes. I mean, you can see it. It's like Oregon Trail, but with romance. And skipping all the Oregon Trail bits except for the dysentery. Dysentery is still there. Anyway, on to the second to last book. And this book tells a lot about me as a person. It is The Shelters of Stone. It's the 5th book in the Clan of the Cave Bear book series. I've read the first one. I have all of them up to 5 except for the first one. And I have all of them in like this publishing format, like the really big, bulky, just like you can knock someone out with it. Don't try to break into my house. I have these everywhere. I just buy them. I don't read them. I just buy them. I like them. I like the concept of them, so I buy them. Oh. So yeah, this is very telling of me as a person. I just like to buy them. Just to look at. They literally are spread out through my house though. They are not on a shelf. They are not organized. They are. Oh God, I don't even read them. I mean, I should. They're usually pretty interesting. This is brand new. Whoever owned this did not read this either. They bought it for the same reason. I see you. Also, kind of like a really annoying bit, and this is like a little ranty real quick before the last book. Why the hell does my thrift store put this in the science fiction section when it clearly says it's fiction right here on the tab? Yeah, it says fiction right there. It says fiction right there. Why are you putting it in the science fiction section? It is not. It is just healthy. It's too thick, actually. Wait, I gotta show this. I gotta show her face. Okay, I don't mean it in like I'm making fun of her. I just mean it in a, that's the face I make every time I find one of these because I know I'm gonna buy it. Damn banana. Oh God. Okay, moving on. The last book, the one that you were definitely waiting for. George Bush, Dak Prince of Love by Lydia Millette. It's a real book. This is a real published book. This is her first published book, period. This is the book that got her an agent. At least I think it did. When I saw that she wrote this and I saw the cover, I thought she was bullshitting me on her website. I was just like, Lydia, babes, like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? It's real. Okay, I bought it. So if you'd like a little synopsis for this book. Also, I have no idea what the hell this is about. So there's this is what this is about. But back to like Daddy George Bush. It's not George W. Bush. No. It's Daddy Bush. Yeah. So the book is about an ex-con that sees Daddy George Bush here doing an inauguration speech, and she falls in love with him. And she kind of makes like a nationwide campaign to meet this man of her dreams, Daddy George Bush. I hope this makes you uncomfortable, because it should. And she does this national campaign trying to get his attention, trying to get him to notice her, and then the White House calls. That's it. It's 153 pages long, and I am enthused. Oh God, I love this. I love this. I might buy this in hardback too if it's good. This is the silliest book I bought in a while. Yes, this is not gonna be probably the next book I read, but it's probably gonna go like World War Z and then this as a relief for myself. I'm ready. I'm so excited. I know it sounds so silly because it's just like, Anna, what? But it's like, Anna, yes. These are all the books that I have purchased in the last month. I don't read this fast. I will never catch up with the books I read, I swear. That would be a fun challenge, I say with sarcasm. I always struggle getting into like the book of the month books. I don't know if it's because I am a child. It might be. That's why I need Daddy George Bush here. I'm gonna leave it. Okay, thanks for watching. I hope y'all are having an amazing Tuesday. My Monday's been whack. Like having a tornado warning, tornado casually like 5 miles from my house. Yeah, I was playing my video game and I had like Facebook up on my other screen. Just kind of like while I was waiting for a match to hook up, I just kind of scroll on Facebook and I see my next door neighbors. They drive me crazy. They're from Austin. They're special. And they were like panicking in their bathroom, and the lady took a selfie with the whole family in the bathroom, like freaking out about this tornado. And I was just like, well, shit. I texted my mother. I was like, dear mother, should I be panicking? Thank you, kisses. And she was just like, no, what? Like, it's not gonna hit us. And I was like, thank you. And I went back to playing video games. After, you know, checking that we were safe, I checked. I made sure. I have at least this much survival in me. Don't worry. But I hope the rest of the week is uneventful for you as well as for me. But thank you all so much for liking, commenting, subscribing. It means so much to me, and I got a lot of books to read. Not too many. I'm gonna see if I can find any of these like on my Libby as like a except for Daddy George Bush book. This is getting the special reading treatment. But I do want to see if I can find like the audiobooks for these anywhere. That way it can help me along. As always, let's get writing.